Hello again, it's Jemima Pett here, and I'm going to read today for you from the third book of the Princelings of the East series. That's The Princelings and the Lost City. The first three books make up a trilogy. There's a little theme going through them, which is finished in this book. And I must admit, this is my favourite book of the entire series. It features Kira, who's a really strong female heroine in a big way, and of course Prince, as he is now Crown Prince Fred, and Prince Engineer George will be featuring large as well. One of the things that I have to tell you is that at the end of the previous book, The Princelings and the Pirates, George had an injury, a head injury, and his speech was affected. So throughout this, he's learning to speak again. He's thinking okay, and his mental abilities are not impaired, but he's having to think about how to speak the whole time. I hope I do him justice. I was inspired on this by my friend Julie, who also had a head injury, and I was just very struck by process that she had to go through for conversation. And of course we get in here both things. We get people who are impatient with people who aren't speaking naturally, if you like, and a lot of tolerance from people who understand that just wait for people to get the words out. So here we are. I'm going to read from chapter 4, which is called Tree and Marsh. And it's where Fred, George and Kira they're on their way to Castle Marsh, which is their home castle, which is set in the middle of miles of marsh, which I always think of as in the Norfolk Broads. And, well, they've had a detour from their journey and come across this strange castle in the middle of the forest. Oh, new glasses, by the way. I hope you like them. Got them today. So, Tree and Marsh, in which Fred and George explore many options, and Kira gets people worried. George emerged from the top of the stairs into a plaza that was the mirror image of the one at Buckmore, save that it had a different type of tree by the cafe. The gateway to what would have been the way to their quarters was on the right, not the left. It did look like there were cafes and shops around the plaza, but they were all boarded up. There were some leaves and dry grass blown into a corner or two, but it looked tidy and well maintained, just as if people had left it for the evening and not yet returned. He turned to Fred, who had come up behind him. What do you think? He said. Looks like just normal, really, Fred responded. I wonder if there's anyone around at all. It looks too neat to just be deserted. Much neater than Fortune was, don't you think? George nodded, and they stepped forward, their feet naturally taking them towards what would have been the route to their own quarters. Then Fred stopped and turned round. Kira, he called. Just coming, she called, and stepped out of the archway, brushing off her coat. Munch has gone back down. He said he wanted to double-check the horses. OK, said Fred. We thought we'd take a look at the route that would lead to our rooms, see how similar this place is. Right, Kira said, and joined them. They went through the archway and wound up the stairs and along the corridors to their quarters, remembering to make left turns when they would normally take right ones, and vice versa. They arrived at a door that looked just like their own and stopped. Shall we go in? Asked Fred. Try the handle anyway, said George. So he did. It didn't budge. The door was locked. Try knocking, George laughed. So Fred, feeling stupid, did. His rapping echoed in the corridor and died away in the silence, broken only by a little tinkling of water on stone. A stream ran not far from the window. George could see it from where he stood. He could also see terraces in the hillside beyond, lush with growth of vegetation. I don't think anyone's here, said Kira. Let's go. It feels odd to me. OK, said Fred, and he led the way back to the plaza. Just before they entered the archway to the little stairway in the castle wall, George stopped and looked back. "What's wrong?" Fred asked. "I don't know," said George. "I can smell something. Fresh bread, perhaps." "Come on, let's not wait here," said Kira, and she led them down the stairs. George could have sworn he heard a clock striking the hour, but as he wound his way down the stone stairs in the wall, he did not hear that it stopped after 6 chimes. They emerged from the doorway to find Munch had already turned the horses to face the road out. "Thought we ought to be ready to leave in a hurry if necessary," he explained, and with Munch and Kira also seeming to feel the need for haste, Fred and George jumped in and let Munch drive back down the hill. There you go. Something strange is going on there. I hope you enjoy it. Look out for it. There you go. Princelings and the Lost City. Bye.